Welcome back, Alchemists. This is Wealth Principle 25. What we've been doing these last 25 weeks is doubling our income and doubling our net worth. Show of hands if you're still committed to the cause of doubling your income and your net worth. Excellent. Show of hands if you're still committed to doing it with less work. Less work, even though everybody else says the only way to make money is to work harder. We've discovered that is not true. Show of hands if you've worked for more than 10 years and not gotten rich. Or for someone else for 10 years and it never got you rich. Excellent. I found the same thing. Show hands if you worked for more than 15 years for the man and didn't get rich working on their plan. Excellent. So we've discovered that the path to riches can't be hard work. Show hands if you've worked very, very hard in your life, like very, very, very hard, and have absolutely nothing to show from most of that hard work. I just want to confirm that we have all had this experience. So hard work can't be the solution, can it? It must be something different. Now, you've heard from very smart people and from poor people this one thing here, that it's not about hard work, it's about smart work. Who's heard that before? Like a rich person, a poor person, a bunch of people seem to know this thing, that it's not about how hard you work, it's about how smart you work harder, smarter, not harder. And yet, most of the planet believes that the way to get rich is through hard work. Well, today, we're going to discuss the simplest process to scaling up your business. Show of hands if you're a real estate investor. You invest in real estate, use other people's money to invest in cash flowing assets. Excellent. Show of hands if you'd like to be. If you don't have it right now, but you'd like to be a real estate investor who cash flows and passes other people's money along. Well, the easiest way to do that is first to accept that real estate is the solution. And if you're wondering what the market's going right now, like where the future of it is, we're going to talk a little bit about that today, because it's important to recognize that real estate does have cycles. It goes up and it goes down. There's a time to buy and there's a time to sell. Usually we buy at the bottom and we sell at the top. Show of hands if you're familiar with the process of buy low, sell high. Excellent. So what this call is, if you're the first time logging in, this is called the 52 Weeks to Wealth. And here we discuss one principle each week, except for this year, we've discussed a couple of principles back to back. And the reason being is we're heading towards the 100 Millionaire Summit at lightning speed. And I want Wealth Principle 52 to land on the 100 Millionaire Summit, because we're going to spend 3 days sharpening the saw, getting tighter, getting our business plan put together, signing the millionaire contract. By the way, show of hands if you've signed it already. You've already signed the millionaire contract in your life. Excellent. Once is good, but you can also come back with bigger goals. It doesn't have to be just $1 million. You can also push for more. Many of us, when we signed it last year, were pushing for $10 million. That was our goal. Some were pushing for 5 million. Some are pushing for $250,000. Some had never earned $250,000 before. That was the first goal that they had to hit. So the millionaire contract is designed to move you forward. And I'm very much looking forward to the people who've never signed it before to share it with you. Now, today's principle is the power of outsourcing, Wealth Principle 25. We're just going to do one principle today because it's so important and it actually is pretty involved. Before I get started, have you ever felt like you were working very, very hard and everybody else told you that this business would be worth it, what you're doing is going to be worth it, it's going to pay off, and a month, 2 months, 3 months went by and you still didn't get a payoff? I'm not the only one who's been in real estate, right? It seems like I hear wholesalers say it all the time. Well, I've been doing this for a year. Oh, cool. How many deals have you closed? None. No deals, no money. What do you mean you've been wholesaling for 9 months and you haven't made any money? Well, because wholesaling's hard, right? The market's competitive. It's difficult. Well, how many calls are you making a day? Oh, I call about 20 a day. That's your problem. You're not calling enough. The level isn't enough. Well, I don't have any more time. True, because you're working on your time. Does Elon Musk work on his time? No. Elon Musk has 100,000 employees. Write that number down, by the way, because I say this often, but I want you to write that number down. 100,000 employees at Tesla alone, just in Tesla. 100,000 employees that work a full year, minimum of 40 hours a week. That means every single week, Elon Musk has 100,000 people working 40 hours. Show of hands if we understand that's outsourcing, that's scale. That's the power of other people's time. And the power of other people's time leverages beyond just Elon Musk. He's not the only one who's figured it out. Walmart has 120,000 employees all across the world. Walmart, this little storage you never think about with long lines. And you're like, there's never somebody I can find, right, in Walmart. But they have 120,000 employees. They have the largest corporation on this planet. They have discovered outsourcing. They've discovered the power we're going to talk about today. There are other people in your market. I know a real estate agent who closes 700 transactions a year by himself, single agent who does 700 transactions a year by himself because he outsources a couple of very specific tasks. He uses other people's time. So fans, if you understand, time is something you can buy. That's what money is for, is to buy other people's time. You can't buy your time back. I want to be very clear. The science of time is you cannot get any of yours back. Once it's gone, which is why rich people focus on their time. Show of hands if you said that's the most valuable asset in your life. You've heard somebody say time is the most valuable asset. And yet most of you will waste your time doing things that don't get you more time, that don't acquire more time. You'll just spend time doing things that, at the end of the day, probably wasted or cost you time. Show of hands if you've ever cut your grass, wash your clothes, wash your laundry, wash your dishes. If you've ever folded your own clothes, excellent. These are all unvaluable, no return on investment. There's literally no way for you to ever get paid for that task. Show of hands if that's true, but it still takes time. Yes, it takes time. Yes. There are some tasks that are irreplaceable. Like, I would say spending quality time with your kids, spending quality time with your spouse. Show of hands if you're saying nobody else can replace that time. Highest leverage time in your relationship. Nobody else can go to the gym for you. I have tried. I tried to pay other people to go to the gym for me. And at the end of the day, they got in shape. I did not. So it's important to recognize there are some things we cannot exchange time for. Our health and our relations. Well, okay. Our very close personal relationships we cannot replace time with. But is it possible that Walmart has a relationship with each one of you on some level? Show of hands if that's true. You've been in their store. You know who they are. You've bought their stuff. So they have some sort of relationship with you because they've leveraged other people. Somebody else has had a conversation, showed you down an aisle if you were lucky enough to find somebody. The other power of outsourcing is not just your time back, but your effectiveness. The amount of money you make in a day, in a week, in a month can be increased simply by leveraging other people's time. So today, as we go through this principle, I want you to think about all the time you've wasted. As I go through the 4 steps to outsourcing, the 4 different techniques that we use to do this, I want you to think about all the time you've wasted. If you're 30 years old, if you're 40 years old, if you're 50 years old, if you're 60 years old and you're on this call, give yourselves a round of applause, right? That makes you pretty badass. If you're older than that, Victor, give yourself a round of applause because he's really up there in age. So is Lou Carlson. These 2 gentlemen have been with us since the beginning of Alchemist. They've been with us for a very long time, but they've been around real estate investing for longer than I've been alive. So fans understand they got some knowledge, they got some experience. Very cool. And they're in the community for a reason. They're here to help us build millionaires, right? They know that it's more than just how they live. It's about helping others. In the end, it is about bringing the ability for other people to be successful into this world. So outsourcing, as I get back to it, one more pain point I want you to think about: the time you haven't spent with your family, the time you haven't spent with your children, your spouse, your parents, your just very close friends. I want you to think about the time you've missed. And if you haven't spent 4 or 5 hours a day with those close and like personal relationships, you're missing out. And today's principle is going to give you the solution to that. Show of hands if you're ready to solve that big problem in your life. Before we do, what about your body? All right, who here is not satisfied with, like, knows they could have done more in this past year or 2 years? They could have done more getting their body right? Just a little more tweaks, a little more fitness, a little more time in the gym or whatever it is you do, eating right, making the right food. Yes, there are some things that we're going to solve today that we may not have addressed in an entire year. So before I get started, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. My screen is showing. Excellent. So today's principle, Wealth Principle 25, is the power of outsourcing. And the first thing we're going to talk about is outsourcing people, other people. I leverage networks to get myself to a better position. Show of hands if you know, Alchemist Nation is one of the largest, fastest growing networks in real estate. Our goal is to get to 300 locations so you have a trusted team in every market. The reason that's important is because a trusted team allows you to do everything without ever flying in. That's my ultimate goal. I want to invest in 300 cities And I want to be able to do that without ever having to fly into the city. I don't want to have to see the property, which means a realtor. It means a property manager. It means contractors, plumbers, electricians. It means having people who have licenses to close deals, who have money, all my different lenders. If I have a partner who needs their credit repaired, I need to have a credit repair specialist. Financial planners for infinite banking, for the 401ks to help free up my investors' capital. Show of hands if you understand, I use a lot of different means to get my capital, access to other people's money. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Outsourcing. So outsourcing the relationships is probably the most important thing that I've discovered is other people's time. So write that down. OPT, other people's time. That's me not going on an appointment, me sending a realtor. Me not scheduling the appointment, me having a wholesaler do that. Me not finding the property, a wholesaler doing that. Me not closing on the property, an attorney doing that, writing up the contracts. Show of hands if you understand, I don't do anything in the business. I do nothing. That's outsourcing on people. Next, so OPT, right? That other people's time, other people's time. Next one is your environment. The power of outsourcing slides into the environment itself. If you don't have to think consciously about making a decision, if you don't have to think consciously about going and doing an activity. By the way, show of hands if you have to contact people every day to make money. If you know that there's money out there, yes. So if your environment forces you to do that, it's one less thing you have to think about. It's one less thing you have to do. Show of hands if you've ever sat in front of your computer, in front of your phone, knowing you're supposed to call and not call somebody for more than 10 minutes. Yes. What about 20 minutes? Has anybody done this for an entire hour, not made the call? Who here has gone an entire 4 hours and not made the call? The one call you knew was going to make you money. Yes. Who's gone an entire day and not made the call? Interesting. Who's gone the entire week and not made the call? That's true. It's true. Because your environment can be fixed. And it's outsourcing your brain's capacity to get things done. When you have something on your calendar, when you have a scheduled time with another person to jump on a call, you're now forced to jump on that call because of something called accountability. We don't like to let people down. Show of hands if you've ever had a call scheduled that you always hit. Call scheduled, you hit it. Very rarely will you cancel a call that is scheduled because it feels awkward to cancel. And that awkwardness is something you can leverage in your environment. Google Calendars and text messaging to confirm appointments and to set appointments in your life. By the way, as a real estate investor, you're always raising capital. True or true? Always looking for partners, always looking for silent partners, always looking for capital, always looking for deals. Today, I made a post on Facebook and I said, who's looking for a silent partner and a passive investor? And it's been out for like an hour. And I think only 30 or 40 people responded. I've got 13,000 followers. Every single one of them is supposedly a real estate investor. So every single one of them should be looking for passive investors, should be looking for partners. So if we understand that's how real estate investing works. And yet they have not posted that they're looking for a partner. And those who have not posted the type of deal or the structure that they're looking for, which means nobody will ever find them or know that they're looking for capital or partners. True or true? Yes. It's not like I've got the likes on the post. I got the views on the post. And yet the comment, I'm over 500 views right now. This is just an hour. It's been out 500 views and only 30 comments saying I'm looking for capital, which means that there's 470 people who have no desire to buy real estate this year, even though they say they want to buy real estate. Something in their environment is not allowing them to move forward. Something in their environment is holding them back. It could be the way their office is set up. So we're going to do a little exercise, right? Yeah, we'll do it right now. Your office, if it doesn't say pick up the phone and call, you're probably not picking up the phone and calling. Like if it doesn't scream to you when you sit down at your computer, I have little Post-its that I keep around, and these Post-its say pick up the phone and call, and then I have a list of people. I just check that list off. Because my environment, I can't get away from this, right? I sit down and it's going to be here. So fans, if you understand, you can control your environments and outsource thinking. You can outsource the thoughts, outsource the way things are happening in your life. Next one, software and outsourcing processes. This is the 6 steps to outsourcing with technology, to use systems and software to outsource something in your business. Step 1 is gathering analysis. So research that can be done by somebody else is better than research being done by you. A lot of times we use virtual assistants, or I'll go to websites that already have a lot of the data I'm looking for, and I'll pull the lists that way. So landlords, but if I'm looking for a list of landlords, I'll go to a realtor and I'll ask them to pull the list in the local market. Show of hands if you understand. That is a system that can be done with somebody else. Number two, systems study and design. So when we're looking for a new application, or we're looking for a new solution, like we just recently did Asana. We were looking for Asana. We were looking for a project management software to manage all of the different things we do on the back end of Alchemist Nation with the community. And we looked at all these different companies like Monday.com and like Slack and all these different spaces. And Asana is what we ended up landing on. But that was done by Jen and her partner, Ariba. It wasn't done by me. Show of hands if you understand, we outsourced that system. We outsourced the knowledge. The third one is code development, unit testing, and implementation. So if you're a software company, code development is relevant to you. If you're a real estate investor, testing out the units where people are going to be living and implementing the actual, like putting your rent on the market, putting your unit on the market, that can be done by using things like Rentometer. You go to rentometer.com and you can check and find out what the rent is going to be in your area. For us, we use virtual assistants and we use people out in Pakistan. We use Joe. Joe's on the call right now. He does a lot of our coding on our workflows in Alchemist Connect. Number four, deployment and integrated testing. So this obviously was pulled from a technology company, but this deployment and integration of and testing is when you actually go out into the field and you start testing your experiences. I don't have to do this anymore because I hire wholesalers and realtors to find my deals. I don't have to do this anymore because I find financial planners to bring me the money or attorneys to bring me the money. I don't have to do it anymore because I hire property managers who go out and test the market before I show up into the market. Show of hands if you understand the power of the trusted team. Awesome. User acceptance, quality testing to see if tenants are happy with what you've provided. This is your property manager's job, right? It's a system in place where you send out, and actually we've got Roland on the call. We're not going to go to Roland right now, but later on, there'll be some questions that we can have him answer, how he finds out if a unit is good, if the tenants are happy, if they're not, if he's sending out a email or a text or a notice to find out what they're thinking. And then the sixth one is maintenance and support. This final piece for your company, for your investments, especially as a real estate investor, is making sure that your portfolio is still working. We use accountants to do this for us. They come back and they check the money. The accountant will let us know, are we positive, are we negative? This can be completely outsourced, so you're not worrying about the money. You're not. Number five was worrying about the management. Number four was making sure that your units are in the right condition, making sure that they're tested and properly operating. Show of hands if we understand. 6 steps to systems. Excellent. Applications, automations. This is where it all ties in. So we talked about time, we talked about systems, and we talked about environment. All of it gets tied together with technology. The technology that you use, that you leverage, like we're using right now, Zoom. Show of hands if you understand that's a technology, that's an application. It's not a system. It's not something that can be outsourced and replaced system-wise, but it is something that allows you to not have to drive to meet somebody in person. Same with Facebook. I used to have to go to live networking events or reach out to people who I knew. I'd have to meet somebody somewhere and then try to find a person. Now with Facebook, I can go right online. I can find a group in a local city and I can send a message. I'm looking for a financial planner. I can just send a message to them right there through Facebook without ever having to go to that city, without ever having to know anybody in that town. And I can just build relationships. Show of hands if you understand that's another application that allows you to time travel, allows you to travel through this universe, through this space. Applications like Alchemist Connect mean I don't have to remember to send you a notification. Who got a notification for this call today? Got a notification, a little texty text, a little email. I didn't have to send that because of an application that thought about it in advance. One of our team members thought about that and said, every week, you know what we're going to do? 52 weeks to wealth. That was my idea. And then somebody else said, you know what we should do? Let our community know every week that we're going to show up. We said we should let them know the day before, and we should remind them right before. And we should send them the link so they have it. Show of hands, you sometimes click the link from the email or the text, and that makes it a lot easier in your life. You're welcome. Somebody on our team thought that up. Let's give Doreen a big round of applause. I think that was her idea. It is possible. So as we're outsourcing through our lives, as we're going through our business, I do want to talk about one thing that is really important for you, and that is that the market right now is not what it was. The market has made a slight shift. And you see the screen, show hands if you can see the screen. The market has made a slight shift. This is updated. We're going to get a new update in probably the next 45 days, but this was updated at the end of March. So this is for Q1. And you can see right over here that the market has made a little shift. And you can also see in 2008, it did something similar. For those of you who are on TikTok and Instagram, I apologize. You should be on Zoom. And in 2008, the prices went up and they went down. And then for 4 years, everybody bought real estate. And then for the next 8 years, everybody continued to buy real estate. Show fans who bought real estate over the last 8 to 12 years. Oh, so smart, right? We look like geniuses. Anything we bought made money. We could do no wrong. And it's been fantastic. Well, now we've seen a much larger spike upward, a much more significant spike upward, almost a 6 times larger spike over a 2-year period, whereas 2008 was 2007 to 2008, and then it went up and it went down. Whereas what we're seeing right now is it took 2 years, 2001, 2022, were complete straight up shots. And only in the beginning quarter, this is, by the way, not Q2, this is only Q1, only in the beginning quarter have we seen it turn in the opposite direction. We don't have a crystal ball, but we do have something called the market cycle. And the market cycle is very interesting. Show of hands, you've seen this before? It goes up and it goes down and then it goes back up again, like a frequency, like a vibrational wave, like waves at the beach. They go up and they go down, right? Show of hands if you've seen that experience. You understand everything is frequencies, everything is vibrating, including the molecules inside your skin and your body. Well, this cycle starts with optimism, and then it moves to excitement, and then it ends at the top with euphoria. And then from euphoria, it comes down to denial, fear, panic, and at the very bottom is depression. And then it goes from depression to hope, and then hope brings it back to optimism, which is, again, starts the market cycle all over. Show of hands if you understand that we're somewhere in this market cycle. We as real estate investors are aware that this is happening. Where do you believe we are? Drop in the chat right now. Where do you think we are in the market cycle? Are we at optimism, excitement, euphoria? Or are we on the way down? Are we in denial, fear, panic, or at the bottom with depression? Or are we on our way back up with hope that leads back to optimism? Drop in the chat where you believe we are right now. And there is no right or wrong answer. There is only our speculative opinion. But while you're typing that, I will point out the chart that says this. So if you're looking at the chart, you can see that it's up in here. So you can look at the market cycle and maybe make a guess at where you think we are. I dropped that in the chat and I'll read those out really quickly. All right, I see a lot of first 2, 3 were denial, fear, panic, fear, euphoria, denial, between denial and euphoria, and denial. Excellent. Show of hands if that feels accurate. I believe we're actually at euphoria. So even though consensus market belief is denial and fear, right now, based on that chart, we're at the euphoria point. We're still at the top. Because remember, euphoria has a curve to it. It starts and it makes the curve. But we have certainly not gone into the drop. Now, I can't say for sure that we'll continue to drop. And I can't say for sure that it'll come back up. All we know is what emotions people are putting out into the marketplace, which is denial, fear, and panic. But the chart says we're in euphoria. Show of hands, we understand. So what happens, and Mitch Jorsky can share with this, what happens is when people think that we're in fear, denial, and panic, but we're actually in euphoria, after a little while, they realize, oh my God, things didn't crash. Things didn't crash the way I thought they would. And what ends up happening is something called a bull trap, where we think it's going to come back up and it continues to drop. And it's, essentially it's a falling knife. And people end up trying to get out of real estate when they should have stayed, or they try to get into real estate when they should have stayed. They should have just bought properly. Now, the reason I share this is because in Alchemist Nation, we acknowledge that this is a gold rush. We acknowledge that real estate right now, everybody wants it. Show of hands if you recognize people are overpaying for property still. It's a mother flipping gold rush. And what happened in the gold rush is that some people got really rich. They found gold. And then they came back and they told everybody else, look at the gold. And what happened was everybody else decided they were suddenly gold miners. True or true? Everybody after the gold rush was like, oh my God, I'm a gold miner. That's what created the rush. So early prospectors went out and then created a rush. So the reason I share all of this is because smart gold miners, smart real estate investors can buy in any market. They can buy in the ups, they can buy in the sideways, and we can buy in the down. We make money no matter what the market does. This entire time where people have, I know people who have lost $1 million last year. I know people who have lost multiple millions. I have a friend who's worked for free, did 10, 12, 13 flips last year, worked for free, made no money, walked away with nothing. And Mitch Jorsky, we know a bunch of people who have completely gotten beaten up by the market last year, but I didn't. I made a lot of money. In fact, last month, we pulled in $1 million in a single month. I shared this with you because it's important. I told Dorina this yesterday. Did I make that $1 million last month? Or did I make it 3 years ago when I purchased those properties? Drop it in the chat. Did I make that money last month? Or did I make it 3 years ago when I purchased those properties? When I did the work 3 years ago to buy them. When I did the work over the last 3 years to renovate them, to keep them occupied, to keep the tenants in place, paying rent. Where did I make that money? Drop it in the chat. Where do you think? Did I make that money last month? Or did I make that money 3 years ago? Did I make it over the last 3 years? And I see we got a pretty smart room. Everyone's saying 3 years ago, we made the money 3 years ago. That's right. So write this down. Real estate investors, we make our money on the purchase. We make our money on how we buy the real estate. We make our money on the purchase. Real estate investing, if you learn one thing about it, is you make your money on the purchase. And the only way to lose money, you cannot lose money in real estate unless you're an idiot and you make these two mistakes. Show fans, if you'd like to know what those two mistakes are. There's only two ways to lose money in real estate. The first is you over leverage yourself. If you borrow more money than the property can sustain, that will make you lose money in real estate. The second is if you are forced to sell in a down market. The beauty about real estate is that if you buy right, say this is how you make money, you buy right, then you'll be able to cash flow through a down market and you hold. And if you buy right, that means you didn't over leverage. You bought with the right amount of leverage or no leverage, you're able to cash flow through a down market. Show of hands, we understand it's all about buying right. So the real estate investors like us who are successful, we buy through the ups and downs. We buy based on cash flow. We buy based on low leverage. We buy based on correct leverage. And sometimes we buy on no leverage. I'm going to show you a very quick principle today, a strategy. I'm going to talk about 3 strategies, very fast, lightning speed, 3 ways that you can buy right now in this market with low or no leverage. Show of hands if that's something that would work for you right now. Excellent. And these 3 ways you can buy with low or no leverage with having no money out of pocket. Show of hands if that's valuable to you. Because some of my millionaire friends have already run out of their millions. They've got all their money invested everywhere. And now it's time to go back and buy more real estate because that's what we do. First is subject to the existing mortgage. Most of my law friends and attorneys do not like doing this one because it does involve taking a mortgage over where the bank doesn't like that. You get the deed, but the mortgage stays in somebody else's name. That's one form of it. The other form of a subject to is an assumption of a mortgage where you still get approved to take over the mortgage. That is the legal way to do it. So attorneys love assumptions of a mortgage. Show of hands, we understand there is an illegal way to do it and there's a legal way to do it. And I have done both. And I apologize, but the first one is a lot easier. The illegal way is much easier. And the second one is much more difficult if you don't have your credit prepared and if you don't already own assets. Show of hands, we understand the bank, when you're doing multiple investments, the bank wants to know that you've got stuff. If you don't, they will not approve you to assume the mortgage. So subject to is number 1. The second one is seller financing. Everybody's familiar with seller financing. You don't have to seller finance at 12%. You can seller finance at 1%. You can seller finance at 2%, 3%, 4%. I have friends who seller finance at 1%. I have friends who seller finance at 5%. Do you know how they got it? The secret is they asked for it. The only way you will ever get a mortgage seller financed at 1% or 2% or below, we'll call it 7, 8%, is you must ask. If you do not ask, you will not get it. Show of hands if you understand. Right? Because the mind of the seller is to always ask for whatever interest rates are today. But if you ask, you may receive. The other form is called the master lease. And the master lease means literally no risk on your part. No money, no risk. And the master lease is where you're just taking over a property, you're taking control of a property. You do a 10-year master lease, you take over control of a property for 10 years. So you set a set amount of payments that you provide the person. If they have a mortgage, the mortgage stays in their name. If they have no mortgage, obviously there's no mortgage. It's just a rental agreement saying that you have the master lease of the building. Now, when you do this, I've been asked this before, and it's a good question. We were asked on Friday when we're doing Be the Bank, which, by the way, Be the Bank is done for the year. We may do it again next year. But the question was this: well, what about a master lease purchase? And that makes a lot of sense to do. A master lease with an option to purchase, as long as both sections are written separately by an attorney who understands the document, who understands that the master lease does not require a purchase. And when you do the purchase option, make sure that the down payment is only required upon execution of the deal. Do not put a deposit that you don't have. Does that make sense? It's not scalable that way. Excellent. Now, any good seller is going to request a deposit, but you don't have to. Right? You can say, you can negotiate no deposit if you don't have capital. Anyway, every week with these principles, we present a book of the week that goes along with the principle itself. And it's a really good book, usually. It usually ties directly into the principle that you can then listen to. Most of them are on Audible because most of us listen to Audible. Show of hands if you like to listen to your books instead of reading your books. Right. I know there's some of us who like to feel the pages, smell the pages, look at the numbers, the words. But those of us who are far more efficient, and especially the younger generation, we seem to like to drive and read, drive and listen. And it seems to get things done. I was in the gym today, lifting and listening. I call it lifting and learning. Show of hands, have you ever done lifting and learning? Yeah, smart group right here. All right. So before we dive into the book of the week, I do want to point out that there is a change in pricing for the 100 Millionaire Summit. So the 100 Millionaire Summit tickets prices will be going up to full price. The early bird special ends not today, but this time next week. Actually, it'll be midnight on Saturday next week. So what day is that? Is that the 16th? 17th. So on the 17th at midnight, the prices go up to normal. So right now, I think everything is just about half or a little more than half. That's the early bird special that we ran from the summit. But now that we're on our way towards the summit, which is November 3rd to the 5th, all prices will be going up to normal price, which I do not have them in front of me, but you will find out what they are once we put them up. I think they're 2 or 3 times the price of today. Show of hands if you understand. Early bird special is because you were an early bird. That means early bird gets a deal, early bird gets the worm. And if you're not an early bird, you pay what everybody else pays. Show of hands if you like to get things at a discount, you like things for a better price. Excellent. Me too. I bought Grant Cardone's tickets a year in advance. I literally bought them right at 10x, right? At the end of 10x, this is how smart Grant is, by the way. At 10x, he got money for the next 10x. He charged me for the next 10x. But I only paid $7,500 per ticket, which means I gave him $15,000. At 3 months before 10x, those tickets were $15,000. 1 month before 10x, you could not buy diamond tickets. Could not buy diamond tickets. They were sold out because diamond sits in the front, right? We get the front rows. We get that whole front section. And Darina was smart. She saved me $15,000 by buying the tickets at the summit, at the 10x Growth Con. And at the time, I did not understand the value. At the time, I was like, oh, I'll just buy them later. And then later came, and I realized that she had saved me $15,000. Show of hands if you've got some smart people in your life who know how to save money. Keep them close. sometimes some of us are not thinking about the advantage of doing things in advance. She books my flights in advance. She books my hotels in advance. And she buys my tickets when the tickets are on early bird special. She plans my year in advance so that I can spend less time and less money thinking about and working towards things that I'm not going to get an increased return on investment. So fans, if you understand, I didn't get an increase. If I paid 30,000, I would have gotten more money out of those connections, right? I got to pay 15,000 and I got a much better return. So the reason I mention it is because Darina told me the prices are going up and that we have to let everybody know. So all of your friends, all of your family, everybody you're planning on inviting, invite them now. Now is the time to describe what the summit is. By the way, it's for business and real estate professionals who are looking to increase, double their income, double their net worth, gain that ability to become one of our 100 millionaires. We've built 24 millionaires and we have a path so that we can build the rest, the next 100 over the next, hopefully we nail it this year, but if we don't nail it this year, we'll certainly nail it next year. Let's give all my team builders a round of applause because they're building the teams that build millionaires. And every team that we put in place is committed to building 100 millionaires in 300 separate markets. There's 300 teams that we're building this year and next year that are going to put 100 millionaires on the map. Show of hands if you understand. These are powerful, amazing people. Let's give my team builders one more round of applause. I love and appreciate everything you're doing to push this mission forward. 100 Millionaires Summit. I will see each one of you in person. Now, it's my great honor to give Mitch Jaworski a big round of applause as he shares with us this week's book of the week. And for everybody on TikTok and Instagram, I'll see you next week. Go ahead, Mitch. Let's give him a big round of applause.
This is me playing the role of Mike Shine. Let me channel my inner Mike Shine and get super optimistic and happy. And then book of the... Oh, wait, that's the wrong book. That's Scared a Cat to Investing in Rental Properties. Wrong book, wrong book. I don't have a physical copy of a whole new mind. I audibled that one. So, which
I do have a physical copy of A Whole New Mind. It's in my hand, Mitch.
Yes, I see
also
that.
audibled it.
Like I said, I audibled it, which was actually one that you could listen to on Audible because we all know I'm picky about the audibles. Anyway, it's funny because everything you were talking about, I was just like, wait a second, is the point of this book like the opposite? Because this book really talks about essentially, using your right brain and how as the information age is like almost coming to like a saturation point, especially as AI becomes more prevalent, how conceptual thinking and right brain thinking is going to be not only more valuable but almost a necessity, right? And which is funny because the short version of everything about that book really is the cliche tagline we say all the time: your network is the equivalent of your net worth, right? So this is only going to become more and more true as relationships become more important, as right brain thinking becomes more important, like just everything from empathy to bedside manner to your ability to network to interpersonal skills, basically all the things that technology can't do, right? As technology becomes more and more prevalent. So pretty interesting book. What's I don't know, eye-opening maybe, just definitely like kind of gets you to be like, oh, huh, and like look at things a little differently as we continue to see like a shift in our society with the continued prevalence of technology. So pretty cool read. And at the end of the day, just don't forget, your network is the equivalent of your net worth. And I feel like this book kind of drives that home.
Let's give Mitch Jaworski a round of applause. The secret to being a real estate investor, we talk about in the mentorship all the time. And Mitch is running our mentorship. So one more time, let's give him a big round of applause. He's doing all the work this year. I freaking love you. That's, by the way, outsourcing. Show fans, if you know, the last 3 years I ran the mentorship. I ran it with a team. I had a powerful team that I was running it with. Mitch is one of them. Mike's one of them. Doug is one of them. And that powerful team was 8 millionaires who ran it with us. This year, I've been able to outsource the mentorship, and Mitch is doing a wonderful job teaching. As a real estate investor, and we talked about all the time in the mentorship, is this: your job is to submit offers. Your job is to find and submit offers and put the next deal down. There's nobody else in your company qualified to do this. There's nobody else in your company who's going to say, yes, buy that one. Yes, close it. There's nobody else in your company. Actually, I'll lie. Hold on. There is other people, because I don't sign for my own properties anymore. I do not fly back to Massachusetts and close my own fucking deals anymore. I have my business partner has a power of attorney who buys my real estate for me. I have my attorney who has a power of attorney to close my real estate deals. Show of hands if you understand. I don't even have to do that. I've outsourced signatures at closings. So it is possible to outsource everything except for one thing, your decision to continue buying in a market. Your decision to continue buying in a market. I said this a little while back. I said a few months ago that I was not going to buy real estate. Show of hands, remember, I wasn't going to buy real estate for 2 years. But I've been seeing a lot of great deals. And so what I decided to do was build these trusted teams in 300 markets and start testing them by partnering with Greg LeBlanc and Josh Pimentel, and so that they could partner with our community. So they could go out and do that work. So I'm still technically in the deal, but I don't spend any time on the deals. Show fans understand that's outsourcing, but still building my net worth, still building my community's net worth. So I'm still able to buy real estate. I'm just not physically spending any of my time. I already am on a coaching call with Greg every single week. And to add Josh to that same exact call and evaluate properties together, that same 30 minutes is already time I already had. Show fans if you could outsource some things in your business, maybe finding the deals, maybe I don't even evaluate the deals. I have Greg evaluate the deals. He's an underwriter. That's what he does. He underwrites the deal, and then he tells me we're going to do this. It makes sense. I just give the final okay. I like that. That's a good one. Yes, I agree. And if anything goes wrong, we back out of the deal. Show fans if you know that's an option. If maybe you forgot that you could always back out of a deal. Some people don't remember or don't realize that we can not close. Like we don't have to close. We get to close. As real estate investors, the goal is to buy more real estate. How do we build millionaires? I guess literally on every podcast, how do we build millionaires? We buy real estate. That's it. We buy real estate. That is how we build millionaires. We put in offers. We submit offers. Then we help them finance the offers. We do names on deeds, right? Step one, names on deeds. Choose a strategy, choose a location, find deals, evaluate deals, submit offers, fund the deal, close the deal. That's the process. It doesn't change. It is a simple process. And then what happens once they have real estate? Well, we do something called wealth stacking. And with wealth stacking, we look at the properties, we review return on equity. I've got to give Stephen Bieber a big round of applause. I appreciate him so much for the work he's done with me to help me simplify this millionaire building process. We've had the process, but Stephen came in and he simplified it. He said, man, like this is very complex. It's actually a two-step process. It's names on deeds, which says buy real estate. And then it's wealth stacking, which says once you have real estate, you can either pyramid up or you can 1031 and roll forward. And pyramiding means you sell one to buy two. And 1031ing means you sell one to buy two. Or you do the BRRRR strategy, where you buy, renovate, refinance, rent, repeat. Show of hands if you understand. That's wealth stacking. That's how we do it. 2 steps. It's a two-step. It literally is a 2-step process. Each one has stages or steps. If this, then that's. But it's so much faster, so much more streamlined. And this millionaire making process is getting easier and easier. And we're deploying it across the country now. And it starts with the trusted team. I'm right now working in Daytona to build a trusted team. Doreena's working in Tampa. And we have I think there's 10 to 15 people on our team building team that is led by Brian and Steven. And some of our team are right here on the call. Let's give our team one big round of applause. Your work is important. What you're doing builds millionaires. You're actually finding the team, making sure they're moral, ethical, do all things legally, and putting the professionals together to make sure they play nice, they're masterminding together, so that they can discuss, did Joy do what she was supposed to do this week? Did she get her refinance done? Is this her closing attorney? Have they connected? Making sure that a person doesn't just end up in some sort of website and hopefully follow some sort of training course. I'm tired of training programs charging $30,000, $50,000 to get into their program so that you can buy real estate, learn how to buy real estate. Show hands if you've heard of these. The 30,000, the 40,000, the 50,000 program to learn how to buy real estate, right? No. The trusted team is free. We don't charge for the trusted team. You see, they're successful. They make money when you buy a piece of real estate, when you do a transaction. Show fans if that makes more sense. We just provide the process. We provide a safe process that works for them. So it's called outsourcing, my friend. So I'm building for you what I want for me. My goal is to buy $1 billion of real estate with Alchemist Nation over the next 5 years. And in order to do that in every single market, we're going to have trusted teams on the ground that we can use. And without a trusted team, I can't buy. So I'm going to help you get rich first. Show hands if you don't mind getting rich first. I'm going to help you get your $1 million so that we can then go help the whole community buy $1 billion. And it's possible that you don't have money right now. Good. Excellent. Fight for it. Right? Do everything day and night for it. Do what you got to do. Make the calls. Like, learn the process. Names on deeds. Wealth stack. Do what you got to do, because 3-5 years from now, we're going to have the opportunity for each one of you to invest. Each one of you to buy real estate in your market using these trusted teams. Show of hands if that makes sense. Right? The opportunity may not have been there yesterday, but the team is working to make sure it's available to you in your market. And it's not easy, but it is worth doing. And each one of them is working very diligently to make sure, like I said, that they're moral, ethical, and they do things legally. You got to outsource everything else, but your decision to buy and the market you buy, that is your decision. You choose the strategy. You choose the location. You let the team know that you're looking for certain types of deals. You choose the deals you're looking for. But from there, all it is stay involved, stay in touch, keep touching your team, keep touching the trusted team, and like staying in the loop. And they're going to make sure that you're getting to where you need to be. It's you got to trust yourself, and then you got to have a trusted team. 2 steps, right? Trust yourself, and then get a trusted team. Set the goal. Without a goal, you can't get rich. Anyway, this has been very fun. We're gonna do some Q&A questions for anybody. I'll stay on a little bit longer than usual because I talked a little bit longer than usual. So give yourselves a round of applause. If you got busy things that you're doing this week, go and spend time with your family. No matter how busy you are, if you're showing houses, if you're buying real estate, if you're closing deals, make sure that you say something nice to your family. Make sure you do something good for your body, and make sure you post a Facebook post for something you're looking to outsource. Make a post today for something you're looking to outsource. I posted that I said, who's looking for a silent partner? Who's looking for private money? Not private money. Who's looking for a silent partner or a passive investor? Because I'm looking to outsource the work of buying real estate. Show of hands if that makes sense. Or I'm looking to outsource the work of finding deals and managing deals. So I'm outsourcing that part. What are you outsourcing? Drop a post on Facebook and tag somebody and just say, hey, look, I'm looking to outsource this. Who do you know? Who do you know? Stephen Bieber. Can we run an awesome Q&A? Let's give Stephen a round of applause. Thank you, bro.
Absolutely. Before I get to rolling, I want to point out something. Walter is being lazy because he's outsourcing people so he can be more productive on helping more people. All right. It's not just to be, if it was just to be lazy, he wouldn't last. He wouldn't be here. We wouldn't follow him. He's doing this so that he can be more focused on the things. And the reason I'm saying that is because that's the same thing for you, right? Get lazy so that you can make more money, so that you can do more things, that you can dent the universe. That's all that really, at the end of the day, most of us want to do. We want to help everybody else be better in whatever it is that we feel that we can help with. So let's give Walter a round of applause because, without him, we wouldn't be here, literally. All right, Roland, lay it on us, my friend.
Yeah, so and I think this topic was very timely. And the reason why I say that is because I've always said, and even said it in the book that I wrote, you're making money when you buy, you get paid when you sell. So that million that Galter made, he made it 3 years ago. So you have to buy right in order to be able to get where you want to go. And I also say I'd outsource going to the bathroom if I could. And that's how much I believe in outsourcing. And when it comes to my my property management business, I outsource a big chunk of what I do. I have a team that goes out and do the inspections for the properties, right, on a certain interval. And then, I work with the owners to make sure that works. They provide a detailed report that I just have to review. I determine what needs to be done. And then I have a team that goes out and gets the work scheduled. And so as efficient as I can be, so I can be more present for my owners, I try to be. So outsourcing is very, very important. If you're still trying to do everything yourself, whether it's property management, whether it's analyzing the deal, And I know at some point you have to do a lot of things yourself just so that you can learn, so that you can understand what needs to happen. But once you get that understanding, you have to, in order to really scale, you have to be more efficient. You're going to have to start leveraging people's time and people's energy. So this topic is very timely, and I just wanted to make recognition of that.
Oh, it's awesome. Give Roland also give him a big round of applause first. But Roland brought up something that we say outsourcing, but sometimes we don't realize that that is our team. But just real quickly, I want everybody to go ahead and drop in there. What is the one person that you need right now, if you have the money, that you would love to get them on your team to make your job a lot easier, so you could be lazier, so you could focus on the other things? Just drop it in chat. If I could have this person, that would help tremendously, and then I'll show you how to find them. Who do you need? An asset manager. Roger. Yeah, right on. What else? What else is out there? Everybody's got their team. They don't need anybody. A capital partner. Awesome. Asset managers, capital partners, finding property, capital. All right, those are some good ones. All right, admin assistant, wholesaler. Oh, here it comes down. Personal assistant. Okay. All right. Just ask for it. Get on Facebook and say, go to that website that's for assistants or admin assistants or wholesalers and say, I need somebody. You just ask for it. That's it. Now, I will say that somebody said finding property. We could go down that one. So it's not asking for property. That's a little bit more specific. Just go to Craigslist and start looking for property. Two every 2 days. Put an offer in 2 every 2 days for a year. And if you know Walter's secret calculator, use his secret calculator, and you'll be fine. You'll find something. That's just the math, right? That's not anything else. Somebody is going to have died, and their kids are going to say, the realtor is going to say, this is worth $4 million, and you're going to put an offer in for 2.6, and the realtor is going to say, no way, but they've got to show it to the kids, and the kids are like, we don't want to deal with this real estate. We'll take the 2.4. That's going to happen. Everyone doesn't happen a lot, but that or some type of scenario like that is going to happen every once in a while. So, but it doesn't happen to you if you don't put your offer in. You never get anything accepted if you don't put the offer in. I can guarantee you that's 100%, right? If you don't ask for it, you'll never get it, right? So just, and don't worry about if you hire somebody bad. If they cost you $100,000 a year, that's a lie, okay? It only costs you a weekly or monthly, depending on how you're getting them. And then you get rid of them and you go on. You find that you figured out what you did wrong. You get a better person. And finally, that person makes you money. By the way, if that person doesn't, at minimum of 2 times their salary, make you money, 2 times your salary, minimum. Really, it should be 4, but I'll go to 2. You don't hire them. They've got to make you money, right? Now, sometimes it's making you money because they can free up your time and you can do your superpower. Putting in more offers would be a good one, right? Put in 4 offers, 10 offers, 20 offers. You want to get it faster results, you just increase that, right? But anyway, there you go. So, all right. So
it's funny. I did hear a speaker once say that your employees should make you a minimum of $250,000 each. If an employee is not making $250,000, then you're probably not hiring properly in your company. If your average employee is not making somewhere around $250,000 for you, then your company isn't operating properly. And it's a true function. It truly is. It means you have to have a big sales team. It does mean that your sales team has to exist and be operating at a strong level. So just a thing I heard. Go ahead, Stephen.
Oh, a really good job. So more questions, please. It can be about property. It can be about the book. It can be about problems that you're having that you want solutions to, whatever it is. Roland, go right ahead.
Yeah. So I think you brought up a good point, Walter, but I don't know that everyone on the call knows how to determine how to calculate that, right? And so it's easy to say your employee needs to make you $250,000, but how do you determine how do you determine that? Because I'm having that issue where I'm looking at my employee. I'm like, okay, they're making calls for me on a consistent basis. They're calling my prospects. How do I calculate how much they're actually, what their value to me in terms of, as opposed to what I'm paying them to do that work?
That's a very good question. So the math is actually easier than you think. So you take, say you have 10 employees and you're pulling in $1 million. You divide that $1 million by 10 employees and you find that the number is 100,000. You recognize somebody in the company either has to go or somebody has to step up. And it's possible that it's both. And usually it's a sign that your sales team isn't big enough or your client base isn't appropriate for the amount of people that you have. You may need to step up the client base or what you charge or the product you deliver. There's somewhere in that space, right? If you're going after, think about it, clients to only make you about 50,000 a year, then you're going to need that person to lock you down at least 5 of them. But if you're going after clients that only make 5,000 a year, well, then they're going to have to go and lock down 50 clients. So the difference is tremendous based on what your client base actually does and what your sales team does. But here's the other thing that when you think about, if you've got staff rolling that doesn't do cold calling or doesn't do sales, then your sales team has to compensate for that staff. So they should be earning $350 or $450, dependent on how big your back-end staff is. And there's a lot of times where back-end staff could be a system or it could be a international partner or virtual partner where that reduces the cost. But it's a true function of a company. Sometimes the back end is just too big for what you're pulling in on the front end.
Right on. And another thing you can do is before you hire them, write down the 3 things that they need to do that will directly impact making money. And then you can make that calculation a lot quicker.
And it's a weekly activity. So in our sales team, right? So our sales team, our goal is for them to make $6,000 a week for themselves, right? To bring into the company, that means they're pulling in about 25 to 30,000 a week for the company. So they walk away with a $6,000 a week paycheck. That's our goal. What the average salesperson will make is about $6,000 a month. You know, we're not training or seeking average. We're seeking above average. My goal is for every single person in our company to make $250,000 a year. That's my target for our sales team. So that they can produce, that's their income, which means they produced for us over $3 million individually. I'm sorry, that means they produce for us about $1 million individually. Show of hands if you understand. I want them to produce 3 times what they're bringing in for that salesperson. But that means I can cover in the back end role in 3 to 4 staff members because that salesperson's driving so hard, which allows us more impact in the community, allows us to develop bigger systems, better technology, have better resources in the actual local events. So your company gets better as your sales team gets more productive. That makes sense, brother? Oh, your sound is gone. You're unmuted, but your sound is gone. Go ahead, Steven.
No, it's great. I was just reading some of the notes that Heather was talking about. Just in case you're thinking about that, wow, how do I? First of all, you can go to funeral homes, but then she put in a death, marriage. Marriage is actually, the wife is like, no, this is just taking too much time away from the kids. Get rid of the property. Actually, I worked for somebody. He had 13 properties, and he loved to fix it up. He was making more than the attorneys in the town. And his wife didn't like it because it didn't look good. So he had to get rid of all the properties. And then finally he got rid of her and went back into it. But anyway, Heather I forgot about that story. Divorce, marriage, death, new job, military service, all these things make people sell real estate. This is all, and she says in retirement. Yeah, which we're getting the tsunami, the gray tsunami, right?
Tsunami, yeah.
Yeah. So Heather, good job. Let's give Heather a big round of applause there. That was nice, insightful. I like it. All right. So more questions, more comments, theories, hypotheses. First unmute wins.
So, and I'm sorry if I'm dominating the meeting today. But I
Roland,
do have.
the bold get the opportunity. The ones who unmute get the chance and become known within the community. We're on Facebook. We're all over these platforms. So the fact you're asking questions and being seen just means you don't mind attention.
And if you've got that question in your mind with this group of over 50 people here, there's probably at least 4 or 5 that are like, I wish I'd have asked that question, or thank goodness he did ask that question. So, yeah.
So first thing I want to say is please join my Alchemist Nation meeting in Clearwater. I want to continue to grow that. And like I said, I want to make it the best. But the second thing is I have a property in Uptown. Uptown is Bush to Beer 75 to 275. It's actually 8 duplexes and 1 plot of land. And they're currently using it as a veterans Kuiper center, something like that right now, but they're trying to sell it. They're trying to get rid of it. It's 1.9 million. So I am looking for a partner that can partner with my investor because we plan on converting all of those properties into pad splits. So to Galta's point earlier, I am looking for a private a partner that's going to be able to help get that deal funded for our owners.
What's the potential ROI on that?
I'm still waiting to get the numbers from the broker. So
drop it in the post I made today, Roland. Make sure when you get that, just drop it in the post so that everybody has a chance to take a look. I have a lot of people who are shopping that post right now. I've had them, I've had a couple people message me like, dude, that was such a clever idea. Like I'm shopping, I'm hunting. So that's a very good place to go and put that information. Go ahead, Richard.
I was just going to say it was brilliant as far as like the economy and buying right, because we're facing a lot of negative press these days. And so to explain, we're going to see X% reduction. So you're buying below that. So
right. Always buy right.
Yep.
There's a process in Alchemist Nation. I've written about it many times, and I talk about it at the summit. It is buy at a 20% discount with a 20% value add option with 4 years down the road. As long as you go 4 years, there's a chance, this is not guaranteed, this is a chance that if appreciation occurs the way it normally does, you'll have an extra 20% of appreciation in the building potentially, but you may not, right? Because it appreciates 5% per year on average. But these next 5 years, I don't think so. I do not believe that's what will happen. So we have the 11% that still will happen from rent increases. Say you increase the rent by 7% every year, which is standard, then you'll have an additional 11% in the value of your properties. So you can be in a position of 51% equity 4 years from now on something that you paid if you bought right. That's something that you bought this year as long as you bought it right. Now, if the market drops 20%, you're in a 31% position equity. Show of hands, we understand it's because of how you buy. But if you pay full price and the market drops, well, then you're negative, you're underwater. That means just hold it. Don't sell. You can't lose money as long as you don't over leverage and you don't sell. And I guess, okay, it is possible to be an idiot in real estate and lose money. So if you don't fill your units with tenants, if you don't get rent, if you're not a decent landlord, that would be possible to fail. Show of hands if you can lose at swimming if you don't know how to swim. Like it is possible to to drown in a pool that is a 4-foot pool if you don't know how to swim and you're out there for 48 hours. I suppose, I don't know, accidents can happen. So be careful. Make sure that you fill your units with tenants. Like Roland will tell you, just keep them occupied. Keep the rents raising, and I guess there's a few ways you could lose. Show of hands, real estate's not guaranteed. It's no guaranteed investment. You're right. It does take a little bit of intelligence, being a decent human being.
I mean, the other risk mitigation is fixed interest funding instead of variable, and that's where some of the multifamily been bitten recently.
Yes. That is. I have a lot of friends who are getting bitten. And I have even more enemies who are getting bitten. All the people who judged me for being conservative, they thought I was conservative over these last 3 years, 4 years. And because I only picked up a handful of deals while they were buying everything, over leveraging, by the way, way over leveraging, overpaying for shit. And they're just like, oh, well, you should look at how many units I have. Good for you, bro. You keep going. Now getting foreclosed on, now not paying their investors. And I gave these people the same suggestions I give everybody. And some of these people are very nice people that have taken me out to lunch, asked me questions, and then not taken my advice. And now they're getting slaughtered. They owe investors money. They are losing properties. They're losing relationships. And all of my investors are officially paid off. We actually paid them this Thursday. So let's give Ron Bowling a big round of applause. We've got all of our investors paid off. Dorina is now 15% of South Coast Capital Investments, and a couple of different changes. But man, I can't tell you how good it feels to know that I went through a time, COVID, where I was able to make payments to every single investor. I didn't defer anything. I didn't miss a single payment to a single investor. $2.5 million I had borrowed at hard money. I never missed a payment. So fancy understand that's determination. That's dedication. It's because I fucking bought right. I bought the
Hey,
property
Walter.
so damn good. Go ahead.
Question in terms of over leveraging, can you give some guidelines like debt to income? What should we be looking at?
Yes. The best guideline is it must make money beyond all expenses, including the mortgage, every single month with a 15% vacancy included. If your building is 15% vacant and you can still cash flow and still make money, you're good. You can buy it. And make sure you have fixed debt. Like Richard said, your debt should be fixed. Now, fixed debt right now, I don't have I cannot predict the future. I think interest rates could go to 12%. So I've prepared for that. At the same time, they may stay at 8. I've heard a lot of people say they're going to come back down. I don't fucking know. And anybody who says they're going to do something is an idiot. They're a liar. They don't know the future. I've had the same exact people tell me, oh, they're not going to raise rents anymore, raise interest rates. And they've raised 2 points since that person said that. So nobody can predict the future. Here's how I buy real estate, as if I was paying 12% interest. That's how I buy real estate. If I can buy the real estate with 12% interest, I'll buy it. If I can run the property with 15% vacancy, I will buy it. And go ahead, Richard. I see you're
Yeah, I was just gonna,
I like that.
I was just gonna say, if you get it at 8%, then it's a 4% bonus.
That's right.
So you underwrite conservatively so that whatever happens, you'll still be positive.
100%. If the market drops 20%, I'm still at break even, right? Because I always buy with a 20% drop from what market would be. And I buy at a 40% discount from what ARV is. If you've done my math, I say multiply ARV times 60%, 0.60. That's me saying I want a 20% value add plus 20% discount of today. I do not feel bad about it. I do not get every deal, but the ones I do get, I brag about for years and years and years. Right, Natasha?
So with that calculation in mind, so it doesn't, I was wondering, because I'm buying like fixers. So do I need to concern about repairing it? Because I was worried about the concrete, the wiring, and all that.
Yes, if you're doing flips, you need to include your renovation costs with those numbers. So it's 60% minus your renovation costs.
Okay.
Absolutely. That figure is for rental properties. And I encourage rental properties. I do not encourage flipping. I have sold properties that I bought, but not because I was flipping. I sold them because the equity was far higher. It was beyond 4 years of what I would make in returns from rents. So my calculation for selling is if I can get my return on investment of equity back in 4 years from the rents, I'm not going to sell. If it's 5 years that I'm time traveling 5 years from a sale, I'm going to time travel. I want to jump into the future as fast as I possibly can, net worth wise. I do want to embrace the entire journey, though. I want to enjoy all of this and all of you during the moment. But money wise, I'm always jumping into the future as often as I possibly can. So that's a 4-year. Keep the real. If your net worth is say 100,000, but your rent is 25,000 a year is what you take home, your cash flow, then I would hold the property. But if you're bringing 25,000 a year and your equity is $125,000, I'm going to sell the property. Does that make sense? And most of the properties I've sold have actually been significantly higher than that. If they were pulling in 25,000 in cash flow, I actually had 200,000 in equity in them. And so I was 10 years time travel, right? I was moving 10 years into the future by making that sale. And that's where, that's where return on equity comes in. And that's why you got to look at how much equity is sitting in your building versus just cash on cash, what I bought for it and what I make for it. Because if you look at cash on cash after 2-3 years, you're infinite return. But when your return on equity is evaluated, you start noticing you start off making 10%, 12%, then you get down to 8%, then it's 6%, then it's 4%. And before you know it, you have so much equity, you're actually losing money because the stock market could make you more.
So one question to that, because you're saying that if you can time travel and you're basing it on your not your cash flow, but your cash flow. Do you take into account whether you have a mortgage or not? Because if you don't have a mortgage, your cash flow is going to be a lot more than if you did, right? So how do you take that into account when you're determining that?
That's great. We actually were asked that question this Friday too. So what we'll buy is 2 to 3 times the portfolio we actually need for a paid off cash flow number. So for example, we bought a 3-family, a 3-family, and a 5-family. So 11 units all in one shot. We sold the 2 3s. We bought the whole portfolio for $600,000. We sold the 2 3s for $750,000. So we're positive 150, and we still had the 5-family paid off. So that scenario works for our strategy. It gives us the ability to have a paid off property that now, say it brings in, the cash flow was $1,500 and the mortgage was $1,500. Now it's $3,000 it's pulling in. Plus the other $1,500 that goes to expenses is just always going to go to expenses. So you don't count that part. But that $3,000 cash flow is now $36,000. But the building, and this is where, because I'm in growth mode still, I ended up selling that property for $500,000 because the building was only pulling in $36,000 a year, which was 14 years time travel I was able to do. Does that make sense, Ron? But if I was, let's call me in my 60s or 70s, then I probably would have just held that property and made that $36,000 a year off of it and been fine with that.
Right. Okay.
But in my mind, I could take that $500,000, throw it into a real estate investment trust at 8% or 10% and make $50,000 a year passively without having to do anything. So, that's where return on equity starts. The game starts getting very interesting, where obviously I pay big taxes when I shift, but if you stay in a DST, Delaware Statutory Trust, it's again what we were talking about Friday. Show hands if you were on Be the Bank Friday. There's a few of us that we were having fun with this exact conversation. Was today valuable? We got a lot of good, fun information. We're going to outsource some things in our lives. I want you to get your hours back. I want you to also get some of your time back. I want you to get some of your relationships back. I want you to get your health back. My biggest regret over this since I've been investing since 2008, I would say my biggest regret in these last 14, 15 years is that I didn't spend more time in the gym. I love lifting. I love, just working on just that mindless lifting and pushing heavy weights. And not doing that to me has been my biggest regret over the last 15 years. I have no other regrets. Everything else, I think I fucking nailed it. But I think I could have been where I am today 5, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And the lifestyle I would have been able to live, being able to, when I say I pick up Dorina like she doesn't exist, I'm telling you, she's the lightest person on the planet. When we first started dating, I made the comment, I was like, yeah, I can't hold you forever. You're pretty heavy. Guys, don't ever say that. Go do squats. Get your butt in the gym and do squats, because I can pick her up and it's like nothing to me. And at 35, I didn't have that ability. At 28, I didn't have that ability. But at 37, I'm stronger than I was when I was a young kid in my prime, my prime. So look at your time, look at your health, take it back today and get it under control, because the time passes no matter what. Show of hands if you know what I'm talking about. The time will pass and some things are irreversible. So take action, build your wealth. Please put in offers. I beg you, put in offers. If you're on a team building team, please build teams. My script for building teams is, hey, I'm looking to buy real estate and I need a trusted team. Who do you know who does insert role? And I just keep asking. I'm calling investors, I'm calling contracts, I'm calling plumbers, I'm calling anybody who has their phone number in that market. And I'm asking, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? If you're looking to buy real estate, you need your team. It's non-negotiable. You need boots on the ground. You need people you can trust. That being said, make sure you book your tickets to the 100 Millionaire Summit, because They are only going to be this price. I think their general tickets are 250 right now. They're going up to 700. I do not know what executives are right now, but they're not 1,500 or 2,500, which they are going to. And I do not know what the VIPs are right now, but the VIPs are going to go to $5,000, same as they were last year. So this is your chance to get them at whatever price they are on the website. Screw it. Show of hands if you'd like to see what they are on the website right now. We can do it together. Let's go find out. So we know we're 145 days away from the best 3-day weekend of the year. By the way, the summit is 80-20 of the 80-20 of the 80-20. If you've got 365 days in the year, 80-20 of that is 36 days. It's 72 days. 80-20 of that is 3 days. 3 days. 3 days could be the most powerful days. It's 1% of the year. Those 3 days are the most powerful days when they're spent at the 100 Millionaire Summit, building your plan, building your team, putting your business plan in place, and signing the millionaire contract, and spending 3 days with the mindset of abundance, surrounded in millionaires. Vinny Chopra is already committed. He will be there. So a billionaire will be in the room. Multi-millionaires. We got Bill Allen. His net worth at the summit last year was 20 million. He told us he was gunning for 40 million. Show of hands if you want to show up just to find out if he did it. Me too. All right. So summit, you fill in your information. Hit go to available seats. And it looks like the prices right now are $247, $997, and $2,500. And I know they're going to, Dorina, what are the prices going to? What are they going to be?
They're going to be 667 for general,
700 for general,
25 for executive, and
25 for
VIP
executive.
is $5,000, and VIP is
okay.
Is extremely valuable. It's only 20 seats, by the way.
Agreed. Super valuable. Get a whole extra day with me. So the VIP day is special. We have dinner with Vinny. We spend all day talking about team building and scaling. Show hands if you like to scale your business. I'd like to scale your business too, because I get bragging rights. Because then you say, I was at this VIP day with Walter and he showed me how to scale my business and we put the plan together and then I scaled my business. And then you tell other people about Alchemist Nation, and Alchemist Nation builds more millionaires. Show of hands if you understand, it's all about building more millionaires. It's what we do. So for those who know they're VIPs, who know they're special, who know they're a little unique and would like to network with other people who also know that they are very important, know that they are at that next level, and who would also like to sit in the front row and get the high fives and hang out with us and get the special VIP lunch, the special VIP day, the limo ride to the restaurant, the little extra bonuses that we give our VIPs, then yeah, you know who you are. You are a very important person. And what's weird about very important people is it seems like only we know until we're sitting in the front row. And then everybody knows. So give yourselves a round of applause. This year's 100 Millionaire Summit is 145 days away. I'm going to do a quick vote before we jump off. This is just the hardcore, the people who stuck around an extra 23 minutes. Oh my God. It's actually an extra 53 minutes because we were done about, we've done about 40 minutes at this time. I got to vote on my content. I've been posting at the gym. Show of hands if you see my stories. I post at the gym every day. You seen that? All right. So I didn't post today, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll go back to post again. I've been thinking about doing a countdown to the summit. I've been doing this leg day thing, and I've been counting how many days I've been doing leg day, and I think I'm at 160 days today, or 159 or 160, somewhere in that ballpark. And I've been thinking about shifting over to a countdown to the summit. Show of hands if you'd like to know every day how many days left to the summit. If that's more valuable than counting how many days into the year we are, I agree with you. I agree. I'll still probably post here and there about how many days I've been doing leg day, especially when I get to the halfway mark, which is coming up. 185 days, by the way. 183 days is my halfway point, and I am 20 days away. Show hands if you know it's possible to squat every single day for it'll be 183 days. I didn't know. I didn't know if I could do this challenge. I truly did not. It was the most scary thing I have ever told people in public that I would do. Building millionaires did not scare me as much as going to the gym and squatting legs and lifting a minimum of 100 pounds on my back every single day, a minimum of 20 to 30 times every day. And yet, here we are. anything is possible with enough commitment. Let's give each one of you a big round of applause. Go out, make a post, let people know what you're looking to outsource. Ask for help. If you're concerned about the money, find a way to do it without spending money. If you don't have the money for a position, but you need a position, find the position that brings in the money first. I have a lot of positions in Alchemist Station that are going to help build millionaires, but the most important one is my sales team because they're commission-based and they bring in the money. So sometimes in your business, you have to focus on the money first before you can go and do the thing you want to do. Does that make sense? I have things I want to build. Your millionaire path, the survey right now, it doesn't go all the way that I want it to go. I want it to be able to literally tell you a roadmap for success. I want to use the automations to get it there. But that takes time to develop. Right now, it will give you, if you go to yourmillionairepath.com, it'll give you a report. It'll give you just how much real estate you have to buy in order to get, and how many years it'll take you to retire to become a millionaire. But what I'd like it to do is actually give you a step-by-step process and actually tell you who to connect with and what to ask them for. Show of hands if that sounds like a cool project. Yes, I'm dying to create this, but it takes a lot of money to build assets like that. So I had to start with my sales team. Sales comes first. You're probably in the same situation. If money is a challenge, it's not outsourcing something else. It's bring on somebody who's going to bring in money. It may be outsourcing or scaling up your sales operations with an appointment setter, or maybe operations by bringing in an actual salesperson or somebody to find you deals or somebody to raise capital for you. You may need to seek out a partner, or you may have to seek out a commission-based person. It depends on where you're at in your company, but right now there is something you can do and outsource to scale up. Show of hands if you know that's true. So I'm going to ask that you spend a few minutes, write it down, and then post it into Facebook that this is what you're looking for. I love taking action, and I love seeing you become more and more successful. So cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best.